If a depraved lunatic with a garbage bag full of improvised weapons was bent on wasting you in some of the most comically gruesome ways imaginable, what would you do? Art has a sick sense of humor. The way he sees it, it's only funny if someone gets hurt badly. And that's really bad news for our protagonists, who just so happen to find themselves trapped with this weirdo. If they want to escape, well, God help them, because this guy does not screw around when it comes to physical comedy. All I can say is that I hope we can figure something out in time to prevent the sequel from happening, because if you've seen my video on that one, you know just how profoundly messed up it is. And I'm going to break down the mistakes made, which you should do, and how to beat the killer clown in Terrifier. Dawn and Tara are intoxicated. Too intoxicated to drive, as it turns out. And since neither of them apparently considered the possibility that they might both get totally snockered at a Halloween party, they're left stranded in the middle of town with no way of getting home. Yeah, apparently Uber and Lyft aren't a thing around here, and neither are taxis. Or maybe they're just broke. Still, that's no excuse for failing to plan ahead like this. For real though, who drives to a party knowing that you're going to get f***ed up? Stupid people. That's who. In fact, both Dawn and Tara are currently in violation of all three of John Korea's rules of stupid. Don't go to stupid places at stupid times with stupid people wearing stupid outfits. Okay, that last one was my own addition, but I definitely feel like it's important. Like, I get that for some, the whole point of Halloween is to leave as little to the imagination as possible, but dressed like they are, they barely have enough room for important items like phones and car keys, let alone proper self-defense tools. Although it's still not out of the question, they could still squirrel away a palm clip and mod light OKW using a thigh holster like this one from Bulldog Cases. It comes with garter straps to keep it in place, as well as little pink bows to ensure you don't have to choose between staying safe and looking fine. After all, you never know who you might run into stumbling around in the middle of the night.
Hey, handsome! The friend wants your number.
Yeesh. If only she knew just how profoundly fucked up things were about to get. Of course, as far as they know, Art's just some dude in a costume like everyone else. But never forget, holidays are holidays for scumbags too. And God knows spooky season is the perfect time to walk around spattered in the still warm drippings of your recent victims. Quick question, are you listening to me on your shitty laptop speakers? Do you have pesky roommates that can overhear my strategies playing on said shitty laptop speakers, which you'd prefer to die off in the epoch? Well, that's where today's sponsor, Raycon, comes in. Raycon earbuds are designed to fit your lifestyle every time. Whether you need a sweat and water-resistant upgrade to your gains routine, or like to fall asleep to your favorite podcast every night, these little magic ear genies have your back. With optimized gel tips and perfect in-ear fit, they'll stay put long after you've tossed and turned in bed, strategizing your zombie apocalypse survival plan. Use their noise isolation mode to block out all outside sound, or awareness mode when you need to hear what's going on around you, like when you're running errands or herding kids. And experiment with their sound profiles: pure sound, balanced soul, and bass sound to make normal life bearable. Raycon sent me their flare red earbuds to check out. They're perfect for music, hikes, and tuning people out. Not only do Raycon earbuds have up to 8 hours of playtime, the charging base can now hold up to 32 hours of battery life, and they have a 33-foot range. Once they pair, they'll auto-pair for life with your device, and even with Siri or Alexa. Each everyday earbuds purchase comes with a set of earbuds, plus 5 pairs of silicone gel tips to ensure a perfect fit, as well as a charging case for on-the-go charging and a charging cord. It's a no-brainer. Sometimes you gotta tune out the world to get anything done. So get yourself some ear armor today. Click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/nerd to get 15% off your Raycon purchase, plus free shipping. And it'll also help to stave off a Nerd Explains dramatic, teary-eyed goodbye YouTube video. So thanks to Raycon for sponsoring this video. Fortunately, the clown Prince of Chaos doesn't stick around, but we all know he'll be back, and it'll be horrible. For now, Tara decides she just needs to eat some greasy, sad food, and then she'll be good to drive, because that's how alcohol works. Snarky commentary aside, I should probably take this moment to inform all of you that this is in fact not how alcohol works. Eating food will not sober you up. Best you can hope for is that it slows the rate at which any booze still sloshing around inside your stomach is absorbed by the bloodstream. But if you're already wasted, the only cure is time. On average, your body can process and eliminate about 1 standard drink per hour. Given their current state of stumbling, giggling, cat-pawing, and shouting at strangers, I'd say they're both a good 8 hours over the legal limit. The only thing they should be doing right now is going through their phones and pestering everyone they know for a ride home, especially since both their batteries are about to die. Don't have any friends? Try the non-emergency number for local law enforcement. Sure, they'll probably just tell you tough shit, but I've heard of some jurisdictions giving drunk people rides when they have no other option. Either way, it's always better to take a zombie walk back to your car in the morning than wrapping it around a telephone pole in the middle of the night. And we can always stop at T-Bell on our way back. At any rate, the ladies head over to the nearby pizzeria to put their half-baked plan into action, when who should walk in but none other than everyone's favorite degenerate hobo clown. Although, judging by that look on his face, he's not looking for a slice of pizza. No thank you. It's time to get rid of this guy. I'm sure both Don and Tara are probably used to weirdos staring at them, but I mean, come on, just look at this freak show. Right now, if I were in their shoes, I'd go up to the red shirt guy at the counter and tell him this dude is following us. Judging by his northeastern accent and overall tough guy demeanor, I'm sure it won't take much to get him all up in the creepy clown's face. He might even threaten to bust his freaking head in, or show him how they do it in the old country. And yeah, I get he hasn't done anything to us yet, but there's no law against being creeped out. Sorry dude, you're just too good at Halloween. Maybe next year don't be such a tryhard. Ultimately, Art's freak factor is high enough for the pizzeria owner to piece it together on his own, but not before Don recklessly eggs their admirer on by plopping down on his lap for a few selfies to prove that he's harmless. Except that obviously doesn't prove jack.
What, did you think he was gonna hack me up into little pieces or something?
Maybe. You know literally nothing about this guy, and way too much up shit goes on in the world to assume everyone you run into doesn't want to eat your eyes for jujubes. Now, obviously, we know that it probably wouldn't matter whether they acknowledge him or not. Art is evil incarnate, and as such, it doesn't take much for him to decide if he wants you dead. But if you seriously believe someone is stalking you, engaging with them in any way will only serve to encourage them 99.9% of the time. That said, snapping a discreet photo of someone who sketches you out is never a bad idea, in case they become a problem later on. Just remember to turn the flash off. As for what to do next, I wouldn't be taking my Zydeco like Tara suggests, as the last thing I'd want to do is go back into the dark, empty streets where that nutjob could follow us. However, the moment we saw Art walk into the bathroom, I'd get up and book it out of the restaurant as quickly as possible. All we have to do is break line of sight, and there's pretty much no chance he'll be able to find us, as long as we keep moving. From there, I'd try to find another nearby restaurant or bar to hide in while we wait for a ride, preferably one with lots of people. Drunk or not, it's still better than walking around by ourselves. Of course, once the pizza man throws him out on his ass, we'd better get comfortable in this booth, because this is where we live until we can get someone to pick us up, preferably in a BTR. Seriously, dude could be anywhere right now, including right around the nearest corner waiting to bash our brains in with a crowbar. So I'm staying right here where I know he's not. Still, if for whatever reason we just had to leave, maybe the place burns to the ground or something, I definitely would not go back to Don's car, because we all know that he knows exactly where it is. And sure enough, the girls return to the vehicle to find one of the tires totally flat. Problem is, Dawn is so behind on maintenance that she assumes it probably went flat on its own. And since the spare is already in use, they're pretty much SOL. And speaking of SOL, the pizza guys are currently wrist deep in it, cleaning up the special surprise Art left in their bathroom. Although it definitely seems like only one of them is doing all the work. Probably has something to do with the owner's severed head lying on the counter. Yeah, for everyone out there not watching this on Patreon, that big blurry blob on the screen right now is a man's head carved up like a jack-o'-lantern, candles and all. Look at that. He even cut the smile in. Gotta admire someone who takes pride in their craft. Unless you're this guy, that is. He's probably pretty terrified. Smart move trying to GTFO upon making this discovery. Unfortunately, this place is a total fire hazard, and with nowhere left to run, the only option is is to load up with as much pizza-related weaponry as possible and go out swinging. After all, if you can't get out of a fight, you'll have to get into one. But instead of doing literally anything to protect himself from the as-yet unseen psychopath chopping people's heads off, our guy decides to go for the ringing telephone, as if whoever's on the other side could possibly do anything to help him. And sure enough, he winds up getting disconnected. Ouch. Yeah, cue the happy koala footage while Art goes to work on this fool. Sadly, it's nothing nearly as inspired as what he did to the other guy. He just stabs him in the face a whole bunch. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed here. Fans of the channel will know what the beloved murder mime is capable of, and in this case, he's just going full OJ on the guy. Oh well, maybe he's just getting warmed up. Still plenty of mayhem left to be had at this point. Getting back to Tara and Don, it seems the discovery of the flat tire inspired them to finally use their brains for a change and call on a ride from Tara's sister, Victoria. All that's left to do now is sit tight and wait for help to arrive. But you already know it couldn't possibly be that easy. Not even 30 seconds in, nature comes calling for Tara. And since she can't bear the thought of dripping dry in the street like her carefree friend, she decides to go up and ask the creepy dude in the creepy jumpsuit outside the creepy old building if she can use his bathroom. Meanwhile, Don flips on the radio just in time to catch a news broadcast reporting a brutal double homicide at the nearby pizzeria. According to witnesses, a man dressed in a black and white clown suit was spotted fleeing the scene carrying a garbage bag. Now why does that sound familiar?
Oh, he's harmless.
You sure about that? Guess it's a good thing Donna was able to snag a few pics of that bozo back at the restaurant. Although, looking back, she's probably not feeling super great about how she went about it. Whatever the case, the cops will definitely want to see them, so I'd be sure to call dispatch and have them send a couple cars our way. If nothing else, but to have a few armed police officers around while we wait on Tara's sister. Unfortunately, Donna will never get the chance, because like so many others, she forgot about one of the most commonly overlooked and underrated safety features found on any modern vehicle. The doors lock. Seriously, I can't be the only person who locks the doors the second I get in my car, can I? Cause it certainly feels that way sometimes. Sure, call me paranoid all you want. We'll see who's laughing when this happens to you someday.
Oh my god, you're never gonna believe what I just heard on the radio.
I'm thinking he might. As for Tara, she quickly concludes her business inside, only to wind up getting sidetracked following the anguished cries of some stupid cat that's probably gonna die anyway. Yeah, way to leave your friend hanging out alone in her car on a deserted street where some weirdo started following you around. Of course she has no way of knowing Dawn just got a second ago, but I'm sure the thought probably crosses her mind when she runs into you-know-who back by the building's entrance. This is why you don't go wandering around vacant buildings in the middle of the night. I honestly can't even believe I have to say that. The last thing anyone needs is to wind up getting trapped somewhere where no one can hear you scream. And with no weapons, no phone, and no idea how to get out, the only thing she can do right now is try to find a hiding place in hopes her not-so-secret admirer gets bored and goes looking for someone else to splatter. The key thing to remember here is that we'll want to find a spot that gives us room to maneuver should the need arise. So we'll want to avoid crawling underneath or inside one of the junk cars to keep from being cornered. Thankfully, Tara doesn't make this mistake while laying low, but she slips up majorly by losing sight of Art after he clearly spotted her, and he definitely does not waste any time making her regret it. And now you can't run. This is, of course, very bad, but to her credit, Tara stops things from getting even worse by swatting away the scalpel and giving the clown a taste of his own medicine. That said, she shouldn't have stopped with just a shallow poke to his armpit. Dude just about sawed through her Achilles back there, meaning there's exactly zero chance she'll be able to get away on foot. Like it or not, the only way Tara's getting out of this situation is by cutting Art ear to ear, or at the very least, blinding him in one eye at a time. Even if she manages to lose him temporarily, all he has to do is either follow the blood trail or the sound of her limping away, and it's pretty much game over. And the fact that he chained the front door shut certainly doesn't help either. Gotta say, things are not looking great for our protagonist right now. At this point, Tara's only hope is to find the bald exterminator guy who let her in on the off chance he came prepared for more than just a few rats tonight. Too bad Art finds her first. Wow, way to stop halfway down the hallway when you know the dude can't hear you. I mean, you've limped this far already. What's another 30 feet? Especially when you got a homicidal circus freak chasing after you. And just to make everything that much worse, Art shuts her up by sticking her in the neck with a dirty needle full of question mark. Although, given what we've seen out of this guy so far, catching cooties is about to be the least of her worries. Which brings us to the infamous hacksaw scene. Now, if anyone here has a weak stomach, I strongly urge you turn this up and pay close attention. Your feeble constitution sickens me, and the only way you'll fix that is through repeated exposure to the most fucked up shit imaginable. Only through this can you ever hope to be normal, like me. Anyway, sometime later, Tara wakes up taped to a chair with Art right beside her. Probably goes without saying that this is not the kind of position you ever want to find yourself in, although it's not necessarily a death sentence for reasons we'll get to here in a second. Now, Dawn on the other hand, she's totally screwed. Not only is she more effectively restrained, hanging upside down like that will make it more difficult to think and act with all that blood in her body fighting against gravity. Only thing she can do right now is pray it's over quick. Spoiler alert, it won't be. I'm thinking footage of those Flemish giant rabbits for this one. You know, the ones that weigh like 40 pounds. Let's get some of those on screen while I explain what's going down for everyone watching over on YouTube. Alright, so like I mentioned before, Art has a hacksaw, and Dawn here is going to play the role of this lovely assistant, except instead of cutting her in half at the waist, he's going right down the middle. And instead of her tucking her legs up inside another portion of the magic box, she's definitely going to die. Okay, here we go, starting at the groin. And as you can tell by all the screams, Dawn is definitely not happy about this. Gotta hand it to Art here. Dude really knows how to sharpen a saw, because that thing is cruising right through her pelvis like it was made of some kind of rubber dummy full of fake blood. Also, side note, keeping her upside down like that will ensure she remains conscious for longer than she might otherwise, as her rapidly depleting blood supply will still continue flowing down to her brain. Not once he saws through her heart though. Okay, he's pretty much just defiling a corpse at this point, but no point in leaving the job half done, am I right? Alright, welcome back from the Bunnyverse. Now, you might be wondering what exactly Tara could do in this situation, given it seems pretty hopeless. And don't be fooled by my setup here. It's not looking good. Still, with the right timing, the right moves, and a lot of luck, there's a chance that she could get out of here. First thing we'll have to do is defeat the duct tape. It's not always as easy as people make it look online, but looking at Tara's restraints, it seems Art didn't exactly pile on the layers while tying her down. Either way, the best way to break free when your wrists are taped to a chair like that is to try and force your hands back toward the center of your chest as hard and as fast as you can. Almost like you're trying to punch yourself in the sternum. Now, in Tara's case, the age and general shit of the chair helps her a great deal, as she's able to shake off one of the arms loose in time to free her other hand. But where she loses a lot of momentum is through her decision to painstakingly unwrap the tape around from her ankles, when instead, she should have quickly dropped into a squat position, thereby using the weight of her body to force her legs apart. Doing so might have given her more time to find a proper weapon among the assortment of violent trash Art so carelessly left right behind her, but she still manages to fight her way there using the broken armrest. Unfortunately, this is where Tara's escape attempt completely falls apart, as once again, she opts to stab the clown in a non-vital area before limping away on her jacked up ankle. And even when Tara manages to ambush him a second time using a random plank of wood she found, she stops just short of the coup de grace to start talking shit, which is exactly why this happens. Oof. Looks like she girl-bossed just a little too close to the sun that time. And with that, Art has added another 2 kills to his name. And, oh, actually, never mind. There's still the matter of Victoria coming to pick up Dawn and Tara, although at this point, she's probably gonna need a snow shovel. And of course, Victoria's not alone in this either. There's also the exterminator, Mike, who let Tara in, as well as the half-crazed squatter lady who just watched all this go down. Problem is, the latter is seemingly unable to pull herself together long enough to properly explain the situation, which results in Mike letting his guard down just long enough to get himself bonked. Gotta say, I was definitely expecting Art to use the other end there. Oh well, I'm sure he won't be getting off that easily. As for Victoria, she clearly has absolutely no idea what kind of waking nightmare she's about to walk into. Although, the fact that she's being led around by the back of an old unabandoned warehouse should give her some indication about what things are about to go down. Sure, it's Dawn's phone sending texts, but why wouldn't she pick up the phone when Victoria called her? Furthermore, why in the hell wouldn't they be waiting for her back in the car? Like, I get Tara's supposed to be super sick according to the last text message, but that doesn't explain either of these things, and it sure as hell doesn't explain why they would have wandered deep into the confines of a rat-infested dump like this. Yeah, sorry sis, but were I in this situation, I wouldn't even be getting out of my car without hearing directly from at least one of them. But apparently, Victoria is so accustomed to her siblings' BS that she doesn't even attempt to push back and tell them to come outside, something I'm sure she really starts to regret upon finding Dawn's mutilated corpse hanging around inside. Right, so it's time to leave. Obviously, no one likes the idea of leaving a family member for dead in a shithole like this, but the reality is, if Tara's still here, she's almost certainly dead as well. And even if she isn't, how exactly are we going to protect her from someone capable of something like this? Like it or not, our only concern right now should be retracing our steps back outside and going for help. And I do mean going, not sitting alone in our unlocked car out in front of this place while we wait for help to arrive. Continuing to search for Tara only increases our chances of getting lost or trapped in here, and then we're no good to anyone. And yet, by some miracle, Vicky somehow manages to stumble upon her mortally wounded sister, or so she thinks. Well, that's horrifying, especially when you realize that wig he has on isn't a wig. It's the scalp from that crazy lady we saw earlier. And if you thought that's bad, then just wait, because that's not the only thing of hers that he's wearing. Now, I'm sure the sight of Juggalo Bill prancing through the dungeon wouldn't leave you in the best state of mind for snap decision making, but it's absolutely imperative we keep our wits about us while attempting to flee. Like I said before, hiding somewhere without an escape route pretty much makes us a sitting duck if we're discovered, which is exactly what happens to Victoria after she foolishly chooses to post up in that flimsy coat closet looking thing. Art can't even help but laugh at how pathetic she looks in there. Lucky for her, a second exterminator shows up just in time to draw Art away before he can fill it with spiders or something. But don't get it twisted, the new guy isn't here to play woodsman to her Little Red Riding Hood. On the contrary, dude doesn't even last long enough to figure out what's going on. Well, at least he didn't see it coming. The good news is that the interruption brought Victoria a chance to unstuck herself from that would-be coffin, but she's nowhere near out of the woods yet. Without knowing her way around, all she can really do is keep a low profile while searching for an exit. And even then, there's no telling where Art might pop up next. In that case, we'll definitely want to find some kind of weapon we can use if things get up close and personal. Fortunately, there's no shortage of old junk lying all over the place that we could put to good use in a pinch. Even scooping up a handful of dirt to throw in his eyes could mean the difference between life and death, depending on the circumstances. After a little cat and mouse and even some casual manhunt action, Victoria eventually reaches a dead end, and you'll never guess who's waiting for her there. That's right, it's Tara, only she's not looking so good. Guess that message wasn't lying when it said she was sick. Of course, the only reason Art would prop her up like this is to slow Victoria down by inflicting as much psychological damage as possible, and it definitely gets the job done. After all, it'd be tough for anyone to leave a loved one rotting in this condition, but the fact is, that's exactly what it's gonna take to make it out of here alive. Stick around too long, and the freak's just gonna come beat her ass with this homemade flail, and sure enough, that's exactly what happens. However, before he can make it a family reunion, Exterminator Mike comes in out of nowhere to pay back that love tap from earlier. Seriously? A bop on the head? Some exterminator you turned out to be. This was your chance to end this nightmare once and for all. All you had to do was keep on smashing until he was nothing but goo. Now, it's only a matter of time before Art gets back up and rips your head off. And that's if you're lucky. Well, whatever. At least they were finally able to get away from that psycho. For now, anyway. What's more, they managed to lock themselves inside a room with a working landline, which Mike uses to call for help. Too bad he decides to promptly piss it all away by leading Tara back into the labyrinth to try and reach his truck. Dude even explains to the 911 operator just how screwed they'll be if Art catches up with him, which only makes it even more confusing why he wouldn't have taken decisive action back in the other room to ensure that couldn't happen. I mean, just think about it. Art could be anywhere right now, but we know he's not in here. So, instead of going out there where he might be, let's stay in here where he isn't. And while Victoria's injuries could be serious if left untreated, none of them require immediate medical attention, so there's literally no reason why we shouldn't just sit tight, fortify our position, and hold out for the cavalry to arrive. But no, we just had to make a break for it. And unsurprisingly, this results in Art swooping in out of nowhere to give Mike the boot. See, that's what Mike should have done to Art a couple minutes ago. Still, just like his fellow critter getter before him, Mike's death keeps Art busy just long enough for Victoria to slip away, this time by smashing through one of the chained up doors with a length of pipe. That said, her form was pretty lousy. Remember, with most cheap locks out there, you want to apply force directly to the top of the lock body to either break the internal locking lugs or shear off the cutouts in the shackle that they fit into. Just don't do anything I wouldn't with this information. Now, at this point, Victoria's finally made it outside. However, the extent of her injuries makes it difficult for her to run. So, it makes sense she just opt to squeeze through another one of the locked doors to try and hold out until the cops show up. Although, I probably wouldn't stand so close to it. Probably should have seen that coming. She should have been worried he'd try and poke her eyes out or something. And just like clockwork, the police arrived just in time to start scooping up bodies. Just another part of the job. What they probably didn't expect to see, of course, is a blood-splattered circus clown devouring a young woman's face. Especially while she's still alive. Gotta get it while it's fresh, I guess. As for Art, he knows just how to deal with the likes of Johnny Law. After all, you can't get killed into streets if you're already dead. And by that I mean he surrenders peacefully and is taken into custody and nothing else. Yeah, never mind the massive gaping hole in his head, or the fact that he's been taken into the coroner's office. It's all just a formality, and as you can see, Art's very much alive and well. In the end, only Victoria made it out alive. Although, goddamn, I would not call that a living. However, had Tara and Dawn exercised even the slightest bit of common sense while trying to get home, Victoria never would have had to come and get them in the first place. That being said, once the fight was on, both Tara and Mike had ample opportunity to put Art down hard. And while it might not necessarily be possible to kill him for good, he could have at least been incapacitated long enough for them to escape. For that reason, I think Terrifier was beaten. Moral of the story, you can't spell slaughter without laughter.